y'all doing? What is today? What's today, Mom? What's
the 14th?
No, the day.
Tuesday.
Oh, it's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday, everyone.
I think it's Tuesday.
Is it Tuesday? I forgot the days.
But
anyway, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing? I wanted to come on here with my mom because last time I was telling some old good stories of the legendary Sharon Palmer. And so I just thought to myself, you know what? Hey, Jahi. I thought to myself, you know what? I should just have my mom come on here. What up, Shalonda? I should just have my mom come on here and, interview her and get some of those stories straight from, the beautiful stallion's mouth. As the saying goes, from the horse's mouth. Hey, Poochie. Poochie's on this.
Hey, Poochie.
That's my cousin.
Love you.
Okay, so Sharon Palmer. I think the people want to know. I think, what people know is that you're a wise lady. What they have seen of you is that you're a wise lady that, is passionate about family, God, and your kids.
Amen.
So the first thing I want to ask is, Sharon, did you always know you wanted to have kids?
No, I did not want any children. I always wanted to do theater and run off to Broadway, and I was one of them women that was like, I ain't never having kids. I'm never gonna ever have any kids. And girl, I started having kids when I was 21, 20. I got pregnant when I was 20, had my first baby at 21.
So now let's backtrack it. Why or how did your mind change around from not wanting kids at all and being very career driven and career focused to, you know what? Hell, I'm gonna just have some kids.
I just had honey.
What? No. No, Mom. Now that's another thing about Sharon, y'all, is she goes too far and too real sometimes. Hey, Malcolm. Malcolm's in the live.
Hey, Malcolm. Hi, I love you.
Sometimes Sharon goes too deep. When my mom had talks with me, she literally sat me down at Denny's. First of all, because Denny's we used to always go. We could never really. First of all, I still think Denny's is a fun little restaurant. But when we first moved to California, we couldn't afford fancy dinners and stuff like that. And that was a place we would go as a family, to eat at Denny's, and it would be really cool. So my mom takes me at 16 or 17 years old to Denny's to have this talk.
That's right.
She sat me down.
Some eggs and
she was like, I know I told you then, I'm gonna tell you again now. You got your period, you can get a baby. A baby can come now.
That's
so if
right.
you decide to spread them legs and go out there and rock them socks, understand, you're going to be a mama, a teenage mama. And just went in and literally went into the details. Oh my gosh, Mom, you know what I need to tell them?
Oh my God.
I need to tell y'all the conversation that we had one day when I was watching Maury. You remember, you know the story I'm about to say, Mom?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I have two versions of this story with my mom. Okay, so look.
Larry.
That's my dad in the back, y'all. Say
Larry,
hey, Dad.
Can you put this in the microwave just about a minute?
Say what up, Larry.
Hey, y'all doing?
Larry don't have no time for y'all. He barely got time for us.
1 minute is good.
Now she got him doing her work. Got him over there going to heat up her tea. Anyway, we'll talk later about how she get a man right. Now let's go back to what I was saying. So one day I was watching Maury, you know what I'm saying? And I shouldn't have been watching that show as a little kid. Obviously, but Midwest growing up, everybody was watching Maury, Jerry, all of that stuff. So I was watching Maury, and my mom walked past one time, and she heard Maury saying, "In the case of oral, did you or did you not? Blah blah blah." Y'all know the whole gag. And my mom heard this, and she said, "Oral," and she looked at me, and she said, "Do you know what oral is?" And I'm like, no, as a little kid, I don't know really genuinely what it is. I knew maybe it was something bad that he shouldn't have been doing, but I didn't really know what it was. And she says, I want you to do something. I want you to get that dictionary over there, and I want you to put in oral. I want you to find the definition and put them together, and you then tell me what it means. Child, when I tell you, I was done from that point forward.
That's right, though. Any word that you don't understand, don't be ashamed you don't understand it. Get that dictionary and look up the word.
But the fact that she always wanted me to know what I was watching, what I was doing. Another version of this same story, I tell you how much Sharon keeps it real with her kids. I was, I forget how old I was, but my Pony, this will give you an example of how old I was. Pony was on the radio, Genuine's Pony. And I'm like, my pony, let's do it. Singing everything like that. And my mom says, do you know what you're singing about? And I was like, I hate the rhetorical questions. And I'm like, no, of course I'm a kid. I don't know what I'm singing about. And she says, he's talking about simulating sex through riding a pony. That's the simulation, the manipulation of sex through the lyrics. And I'm just like, Mom, you could have said.
It was a nice song, but you needed to know what you were singing. Especially little kids run around singing the lyrics to all these songs and they don't understand you're singing about and you're only 7.
Oh no.
There's something wrong with that. It's not nothing wrong for you to listen to the song because they mean it's on the radio.
Oh my
but
God.
you should at least know that your little 7-year-old is singing some you shouldn't be singing. I'm a cussing Christian.
Yeah, that's the other thing about Sharon. Sharon don't have no problems cursing. It's people have always sometimes they'll catch me with a potty mouth and I'm like, look, my mother taught.
You got it honest.
She got look, she loved me and she loved me, so hey, that's all I need. Okay, so what else? Okay, now one of the best stories that my mother always tells is a story of how her and my father fell in love. That to this day is one of the most unbeat storylines in the world. And so I'm gonna tell you guys a little bit of what happened, and I want Sharon to explain why she made some of the choices that she made. Okay.
Oh,
so I'm gonna start. Let me see where I could start. What will be a good? Okay. So I say this. So should I start at the beginning? How can I start this?
wow, this is hot.
He made it too hot, huh?
I'm trying to burn all this is in me. Along the way, I'm gonna take out my esophagus.
Okay, so my mom and my dad, they met right at a speech tournament. Both of my parents did speech. They were both really artsy kind of kids. And so, Chance is in the live. Hey, Chance,
Hey,
we miss you.
We met at college. We met in college at Chicago.
I thought y'all met at the speech tournament in New Orleans.
Oh yeah, you're right. My bad.
She
you
don't
know
even
what?
know.
No. We went to the same college, and then we both won a trip to New Orleans, and it was in New Orleans where we talked.
She wasn't paying Larry no attention. She had her friend Carl.
I've been seeing this dude
her
walking
friend Carl.
down the hall. Yeah. But I wasn't paying him no
My
attention.
dad, let me tell y'all why Sharon was so tough. My dad told me at the speech tournament, first of all, my mother won every award. Not to, subtle brag, light flex, but you see it. She won every award because she was killing the game with the monologues and the vocal ability. Give him a little blow a little, just sing a little, just a...
Jesus is on the main line. You ought to tell him what you want. Yeah.
Now I'm gonna just let that sit there for you, so you can get into that real quick, honey. Okay? So my dad said when he saw my mom, he was so blown away by her talent and her beauty that he was just like,
oh my goodness.
he was just like, I could not, he just was like, I had to figure out how to get next to this woman. So they meet after my mom won the award at this like a little after party things that they have going on, and my mom was walking around arrogant as heck, that my dad says. My dad says my mom was acting so bougie, walking around that event, that every moment that he tried to speak to her, like every moment that he tried to come near her, she would just like look down upon him like, excuse me, I've got to go. Like she was being so bougie towards him. I'm like, oh my gosh, Mom, why are you doing that to my father? So anyway, my dad, being the kind of guy he is, look, if you don't want me, somebody will want me. So my dad finds some other cheap trick at the event, gets cuddled up with her and everything like that. Make a long story short, a couple of days before they get to leave the little trip that they went on, my mom ends up hanging out with somebody that's rooming with my dad. She goes into the room and ends up seeing my dad in the bed with another woman. Now, of course, they ain't married. They ain't, they're not even dating. She was giving my dad the curve. So my dad found him somebody to get jiggy with. My mom finds them in the bed together.
Yeah.
And she was like, and my mom was so like very churchy, very like, very just like, kind of prudent, very just like, he's gross. I knew he was gross, She just didn't have no time for him. But to my father's defense, what was he supposed to do? You know what I mean? She didn't want him.
Okay, you're not supposed to hop in the bed with nobody you meeting at a tournament. Yeah, that's the first thing. But the reality of the situation is, this is why you always have to stop. Your mind can get away from you. You allow yourself to think certain things. So he allowed himself to think that the reason why I wasn't talking to him, the reason why I wasn't, coming on to his advances was because I was snooty and I was stuck up. But the truth was, I had a sore throat. I was sick. And when I came back from the trip and went to the doctors, I had strep throat. So he ought to have been happy I wasn't up in his face. But you see how you can take things a whole nother way?
Yeah, exactly. So my dad, being the kind of guy he is, he never stopped. I mean, he obviously was very embarrassed by my mom finding him at that, in the bed with that other woman. But what can he do? They're young, they're doing their thing, whatever. He can't do nothing.
But honestly, as a woman, I really didn't judge him by that because we were all young. We were in our early, 19, 20 years old. And if he found some girl who was trifling enough to sleep with him,
now she's trifling,
and she didn't know who he was, I didn't really blame him. He's a man. He's a young man. He's single. He should be able to do what he wants to do.
She's still mad about it to this day. Can you tell? Anyway, so my dad goes back to their school, and he goes to her friend Carl. My mama had this legendary friend that they always talk about, Carl
Edwards.
Carl Edwards. That's their guy. They always talk about Carl. I don't think I ever met your friend Carl.
You never met Carl?
No, my mom and dad, they both love Carl. So Carl is a legendary friend, and Carl is like, Larry keeps hitting me up, Sharon, asking me about you. He wants to see you. He wants to hang out with you. When you come back to school, he wants y'all to meet up. And my dad kept kind of pressing the issue and asked Carl if he could get her number and everything like that. Make a long story short, Sharon never came back to school, honey. Sharon was done with school and started going to the recording studios and doing backup. Name some of the folks she was doing backup with, Sharon.
I was doing backup on like mix on like not mix. They called it
house music
remixing. So I was doing like for Janet Jackson remixes and artists.
CC
Peniston,
tons of people.
Lisa Stansfield, bunch of people.
So my mom was doing her thing. My mom had big dreams, honey. If you couldn't get into it yet, get into it now. Sharon had big dreams, and she was like, I'm done with school. I'm done with this community college gag. I'm going to the big leagues. So Sharon was traveling around town with my auntie Nene. They was going to the studios, doing their thing. What up, Keith?
Being young.
She never came back to school. So my dad was like, wow. This is crazy. I'm never gonna see this girl again. I just gotta get her on the phone. He said, look, I've been chasing you around. I've been calling Carl. I've been, doing all this stuff trying to get in touch with you, girl. Now, if you want me to stop calling you and you have no intentions of actually going on a date with me and giving me a chance, tell me now and I will leave you alone. And honey, Sharon ain't no fool. That got her shook up. She was like, oh, wait a minute. He coming at me like that? Okay, I'll let you take me on a date. So they go on their first date. And where was your first date at, Mama?
I was working at Sears and he was working.
Come on, Sears.
And he was working at a tire shop or something. So we met at 95th and Western in Chicago at this mall called Evergreen Plaza.
Evergreen Plaza. Any Chicagoans in the house, y'all know exactly what she's talking about.
Yes.
So they met there. Make a long story short, they dated for a while. Back and forth in Illinois. My dad was, incessant on her. I mean, on the end of their first, at the end of one of their first few dates, my mom lived in the suburbs. She lived in the area called Robbins. My dad, he lived in the northern Chicago. He lived deep in the
south side.
Oh, he was in the south side of Chicago.
3rd and Paulina, yeah.
So he lived in Chicago. My mom lived in Robbins. So my dad came. My dad drove because he had no car. He didn't need one in Chicago, but he took all these buses, all this stuff to get down to Robbins, which is not that close. Yeah, it's a long ride. He did all this stuff just to hang out with my mom. And when he goes to hang out with her, she won't hold his hand. She won't kiss him. She won't hug him. She's literally like this.
Can't lead nobody on now.
She's literally like this.
Look,
being like this to him, very pinched, very that.
Very
and my dad,
ladylike.
My dad tells her, he says, okay, I'll leave. Because she was like, I need you to go like now because it's time for me to go home. Oh.
The thing is, the bus only runs at a certain time. Like, I was out in the country. He was in the big city. And where I lived at 6 p.m.,
hey, Kels,
the bus stopped working. So if you wasn't on that 6 p.m. bus, you were stuck in Robbins. And I didn't have a car. He didn't have a car. So I told him, I said, you need to hurry up to catch that 6 p.m. bus because my mama not going to let you stay here.
Exactly. And if y'all knew Mildred, which is my grandmother, she's a real hoot. So my mom was like, I got to get this guy out of here because I'm not bringing him back to my mama and anything like this and dealing with him. He needs to go. And my dad said, I'm not going to leave to go to the train station. Without a kiss. Now tell me, ain't he cute for that? I think my dad, when I hear the story, I'm like in the streets looking for my father because he is the cutest man. He puts so much effort into everything. And he's like, that's like the perfect way to get a first date kiss from somebody. Like, look, I came all this way and I'm not leaving until you give me a little kiss.
And he's a lot like you. Y'all both charming in a manipulative sort of way.
Oh my gosh. So literally I live for that part of this story because I'm just like my dad, I'm just like so here for him. Anyway, so my dad goes, whatever. Make a long story short, he gets his kiss. And my mom, here she goes again, being this high-rolling chick, decides to move to New York because she's going to the big leagues. She's going to be a star. She don't have no time for nobody trying to stop her from following her dreams, honey. Sharon is taking herself to New York.
I wasn't trying to have no kids, that's for sure.
All right. She posted up in Newark, New Jersey with her cousin. Mm-hmm. Chilled out over there.
What's up to Irvington?
She would ride into the city. She was going to school. And, I mean, she was doing her thing. My dad... Let me tell you this. The day that my mom left, she told my dad when she was leaving. Let me tell y'all, this is the part of the story that's going to all of y'all that killed me. She walks into the airport. No, I'm going to tell them that. No, I can't tell.
No, you can't tell them that.
I got to tell them, Mom. I got to tell them. I got to tell them because he's not watching. He's not watching, but you got to hear this. You got to be
quiet.
I'll be quiet. So So my mom told him when she was going to the airport, right? And, you know, she's at the airport, and they yell on the speaker mic, Sharon Palmer. Excuse me, David, because that was your name at the time. Sharon Davis, there's a Larry Palmer at the front wanting to see you. My dad had come with roses and flowers to see her off to New York. Can I tell y'all what Sharon did? Tell him my plane is already left. She said, tell him my plane is already left.
I wasn't looking for no commitments, y'all. I wasn't looking for no commitments. I was going to New York. I couldn't have no ball and chain. You know, how men always.
Apparently, the way to keep
only people that think that way.
Apparently, the way to keep a man around for a long time is to continuously deny his. Because that's what Sharon did. She denied him every step of the way, and he asked her to marry him. I need to start denying everybody.
But a lot of people think that only men think that way. Women want things. They want careers, and they're not trying to tie themselves down with no one dude that's trying to impregnate them.
My mom is a savage. Anyway, the story doesn't end there. You thought you was done, love? We got more to go. So my mom moved to New York. My dad's like, you know what? Hey, it's fine. She moved to New York, but there's still something about this girl I like. Got her number, got to her mom, her sisters, got her number, where she was staying at in New Jersey, would call her every single night. Yeah. They would talk every single night for hours and hours and hours. I mean,
my dad like a $1,000 phone bill.
He would talk to her every day and night, and they would talk about everything. My dad for everybody asking, my dad is an Aries, and my mother is a Virgo. So just to give you the background on the signs.
Let me tell you something that he did, though. Now, this is when I really start, you can go with a guy and you like him. And you say, well, this dude is really down for me. And I get it, but you're not ready for love or anything like that. But you're like, he's a cool guy. But when I really felt that this could go much further was when I was in school in New York. And you need things when you're in school. You need shoes. I needed tap shoes. I needed all kinds of stuff. And books and everything. And I didn't come from a lot of money. And my father passed when I was 10. And my mother was just a regular hard-working woman. And so she would send me what she could send me. And then I had to go get food stamps so that I could eat. And so I remember on the phone talking to Larry saying, I don't have any tap shoes. And so they're going to put me out of tap class. And I just kept saying I needed $70. And I wasn't saying it like, I need you to give me $70. We didn't have that type of relationship at the time. We were just dating
at the time
a little bit. I wasn't asking no man for no money. And I just said, I just really need about $70 to get a tap, shoes. I need whatever and all this stuff. And then literally the next day, he had overnighted me $70 and a teddy bear. And the teddy bear said, I am with you always. And I will do everything I can to help you because you are very talented and you just need help. And that touched me because nobody had ever given me anything. I had always had to work and scrape and hustle for everything. And for this man, who I knew he didn't have nothing either. He was just a regular guy working at a tire shop. And for him to give me $70, like this was back in the 80s. $70 back in the 80s could have been almost $200-300. And for him to give that to me, I knew he really cared about me. And I knew that he thought I was special. And once you find...
And you are, mama.
And once you find somebody and people in your life that think you're special, then that's who you rock with. And let me just rock with the people that think you're special.
And let me just tell you, piggybacking off of what my mom just said there, which is so true. My dad said, you know, Keke, you are always going to be my child, you know, and that's the way it works. Like when you think about, you know, your daddy is always going to be your daddy. It's your mom who chose him. And I thank my dad every day for not only just the respect he had for my mom, but the respect he had for himself to understand the person that he wanted to bring a child into the world with. This is the person he gave me as a mother. That's who he chose for me.
Well,
and he looked high.
I was looking good, though. I was looking better than all y'all. I look better than all my daughters. I'm sorry.
Anyway, back to the story.
Y'all look all right, you know.
Anyway, back to the story. We're getting to the end, coming near.
Go ahead.
So that was going on. Everything she was saying was going on. They were talking on the phone. They were connecting.
Right.
You know, but all over the phone. All of a sudden, no more. My mom got no call. You know, a couple days passed. She's like, "What the hell is going on?" She's like, "What's up?" You know, I haven't heard.
Talk like every night for like a month straight, 2 hours, even on Saturdays and Sundays.
She's like, "Where's Larry at?" You know, this dude, he all of a sudden switched up, changed up. Like, what's up with this guy? You know, come to find out, my father had gotten into a car accident, hit by a truck. His mouth, like
his teeth went through his.
Right, so he couldn't talk.
Through his jaw.
My dad had a total crazy accident moment, was stuck in the hospital. He could not call her. My mother took the next flight out of Newark, and she never came back. And they've been together ever since.
All My Children.
It sounds like an episode of How I Met Your Mother. Isn't my parents' love story the most amazing love story that you ever could hear, Dad?
And I'll never forget, he's just always had our back, not just my back, our back. I remember when the talent agent in Chicago said you were talented. You were about 8 or 9 years old. And I said, Larry, we had just bought a house and we were just doing well. And I said, Larry, they saying that, you know, Keke is talented and we should go to California. He said, absolutely. Let's go. He just has always supported anything that we wanted to do. Everybody else thought we was crazy. Y'all gonna leave your house?
My dad, you guys, has loved my mother so fiercely. He has loved us so fiercely. I literally have the best parents in the world. So I thought, you know, I'd share you that story today. There's stories for day that I have with Sharon. Sharon has stories of her own that she could tell. Sharon has stories of her life with me, with all of us, with So we'll come back.
I just want to set the record straight because I was listening the last time you was talking and you said I was about to jump on that woman in Toronto. For the record.
Okay, Sharon, give them the real.
For the record, I don't threaten anyone unless they mess with my kids. Or say, you know, you leave people kids alone. You should never be chastising nobody else's kids and threatening other people's
kids. For y'all
kids.
just joining, my mom is going over a last chat. I had told everybody how my mom had cussed this lady out on the Nights of the South Bronx set. Next time, I'll tell y'all about why my mama closed the set down of Aquila and the Bee. That will be a good one. Okay, I'll save that for later this week. Love y'all.
That's a good one.
She closed the whole set down and said, we ain't filming no movie. It's over in the director's face. We'll get into that later. Love y'all. Hope y'all had a fun time, okay? And remember, everybody needs a Larry in their life. Take care.
Yes.